Welcome to Career Practitioner Conversations. This podcast is presented by the National Career Development Association. Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Melissa Venable, NCDA Director of Professional Development, and I am talking today with NCDA President Carolyn Jones. Welcome to the podcast, Carolyn.
Thanks so much, Melissa. I'm excited to be here and to have the opportunity to share information about our upcoming conference.
We are definitely here to catch up on the NCDA 2024 Global Career Development Conference. That will be in June, the 26th through the 28th, and we're going to be on site in San Diego, California. So, Carolyn, again, thanks for being here. We're excited about the conference and to hear more about it. Your focus this year as president has been on mental health and wellness, emotional well-being, and the overall impact these things have on careers and employment in general. So how has your own professional background informed this focus?
I think for me, Melissa, this has been part of my work for my entire career. However, having said that, most recently, within the last couple of years or so, it has really sort of begun to take shape for me professionally because there is so much going on about mental health with our members and throughout the conversations that we have with practitioners and with other mental health professionals, that it just began to make sense to me that we should work collaboratively to help our clients and our students. Early on in my career, my focus was threefold: personal, academic, and career counseling. With that, we were able to work on all those aspects of students in terms of what they needed help with in terms of career development, personal issues, and academic advising issues. But they all go together. But for me, it was just doing my work. I didn't make this sort of conscious effort to understand that it all went together and it all made sense that in terms of mental health and well-being, that career development and mental health go together. So about 2 years ago, there was an opportunity to write an article in Career Developments magazine. And the emphasis was on personal counseling. To do that, I had to do some research, obviously, and I did. And it began to surface the significance of personal counseling. And some of the conversations in the literature was, how is it different? Why is it different? Is it mental health? Is it personal counseling? And what do we mean by personal counseling as career services practitioners? Then I wrote a second article in Career Developments magazine. And so to test the water, so to speak, in terms of my own thinking and professional development in this area, I did a poster presentation at ACA, and it was so well received, and mostly by graduate students, to be quite honest, that they felt like this was an important part of the work that they will be doing as mental health professionals. And I kept doing that. I did presentations at other conferences. And quite frankly, every time I bring this up to someone, oh, that's great, Carolyn. That makes sense with all that's going on in the world today. You were one of those people that I asked, and you said, wow, that's a great idea. So that's how it began. And really, I have to say that for me, again, it was sort of what I do, and I think for all of us as career services practitioners and mental health professionals, it's what we do. But the theme and the purpose of the conference is to bring that up, to make folks begin to have more consciousness and more awareness about the need for us to collaborate to provide the best possible services for our clients and our students and our constituents.
Oh, absolutely timely. And I think what I've been hearing in my excitement and as well as others about this theme and this thread that you've woven throughout your years president is how much of this work we were already doing, but we didn't realize that that's what we were doing. And now we can be a little more purposeful, aware, and continue to learn so that we're serving our students and clients in the best ways possible. And you mentioned the conference theme. So tell us what the theme is and sort of, again, how did you select it?
Well, from what I just shared with you, that was sort of my journey, so to speak, to come up with the theme. And then as I began developing the theme, I went back to my colleagues and my friends and I said, what do you think about for the theme for the 24 conference to put those two things together? So the title is The Intersection, which is what we're talking about, of career development and mental health. But again, that colon part, strategies and techniques to promote well-being and success. That's the presentation piece. because the intersection is the overarching theme. But what we hope to have, and I'm sure because I've seen the proposal presentations and they're awesome, are going to be able to help us to sort of dissect that and to make that make sense to the attendees. And I really hope that as they're attending the sessions, that they begin to have conversations, not just listening and taking notes and all of that. That's important. But more so, when you leave the room, continue the conversation. And I would love to be able to walk around the hotel in San Diego and hear folks talking about what they've said and what they've heard. And gee, did you go to that session on XYZ? And wasn't it exciting to hear him talk about or her talk about whatever? I think that's the vibe that we want to have. Conversation, easy. And then too, coupled with that in terms of being better at what we do, quite frankly, how we take care of ourselves. I think as helping professionals, I know for myself, I'll be very honest, I'm the last person that I take care of. I put all that first, other things first, and then I go, oh, gee, I'm feeling a little tired. I need to take a break. But I do want us to, as the attendees and all of us generally in the field, to begin to be very aware of our own sense of well-being and how it contributes to our overarching happiness and work-life balance and career success and all those things that go together.
Now, again, so timely and very much appreciated. So you've already shared a little bit about what attendees can expect. Are there any particular parts of the conference you'd like to highlight for us?
Oh, absolutely. Our keynote speakers, we have experts in the field speaking to us. Dr. Savickas, Dr. Niles, Dr. Jones, Dr. Ho, Dr. Chung, all excellent professionals in our field. And I think what's really going to be interesting is that they each have a different focus. Dr. Niles and Dr. Savickas, as we know, have published amazingly wonderful authors and experts in the field. They will talk a little bit about their theory and how they fold that into this work that we're talking about today. The second session is going to be with Dr. Jones and Dr. Ho, and Dr. Ho is a career development practitioner, and Dr. Jones is a clinical psychologist. So they're going to have a conversation, there's that word again, about what this topic of collaboration. And then we will end the conference with a session with Dr. Chung, who is going to be like almost like a resident reporter, because he's going to be circling throughout the conference and chatting with folks and attendees. And with his background and area of expertise in the field also, he'll be able to bring it home, so to speak, and help us to understand the whole sense and understanding of what has happened throughout the conference. And then hopefully, as I said, leave with that conversation. We want folks to leave that last general session and say, listen, I'm going to go back on the plane and I'm going to think about this. But when I get back to my office or when I get back to my university, I'm going to continue to talk about this, because if it falls off the end, it sort of feels like, wow, why did we do that? But so the notion is to put enough of wealth of understanding and knowledge and input into this conference so that the conversation continues. That's the goal.
Oh, fantastic. That's quite a lineup of names. And for listeners who are still thinking about attending, you can certainly take a look at ncda.org, read more about the conference and all of the bios about those keynote speakers. So we're super excited for that lineup, Carolyn. Thank you for assembling such a great group.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm as excited as you are.
And so takeaways for folks that are going to make it out to San Diego. What are you anticipating they'll be able to take home?
I think one of the things that I think will be important is that they have not only heard from our fabulous keynote speakers, but they're learning. You know, that I think when you go to conferences, you come in with a sense of understanding of the field, and at the top, you know, you select the presentations you're going to. At least I do, based on what I'm interested in, or gee, I need to learn more about whatever. And I hope that that does happen, that if you attend a session, that when you sit down, you stay in the room. I think sometimes you go to a session, you think, oh, this is not what I thought. And then you sort of sneak out the door. We hope that doesn't happen. We hope that when you enter the session, you have a seat and you stay in the room and you learn from the experience. And then you interact with the people around you too. Where are you from? What school? What do you do at your school? And what do you do in your private practice? So that they learn and then they share their perspectives on the collaboration. That's the whole key. In some of the presentations that I've done this year, the magic, I would like to say, is the interaction of the folks in the audience. And I had a fellow say to me, and he gave me permission to share this, and now I'm sharing it with everyone, that career development and mental health is like a two-sided coin. And you can't separate those two. And I think that's the beauty of that comment, and that's the beauty of this work. And I think it does. Someone said after we finished that session that we sort of created a magic in the room between there were mental health professionals and career development practitioners, I should say that, in the same session. And then what happened is we were talking about this topic and how we can help one another. It was just, you could just sense the engagement just rising up in the room. And we had a fabulous interaction and discussion. And that's pretty much the way it's been all year. You know, in terms of whenever I bring this to a session or whenever I present this topic, the same energy is in the vibe has been there throughout the year.
No, I love it. When you get 1,000 or so helping professionals in a in a place together, it really can create magic. And I think we see that year after year with NCDA's global
Absolutely.
conference.
Absolutely. And that's the point, isn't it?
I think
At the
so.
conference, we want to create that magic every year.
And so, how will this year be? Are there any differences between this year and previous conferences?
I think the major difference this year is that we will actually have a virtual conference option, which we haven't had. And that too will enable those who can't come to San Diego to be able to participate in all the things we're talking about today. And I think, and I don't want to be remiss and not say anything about San Diego because it's absolutely beautiful. And I think that our attendees and those who are yet to register will have a good time in San Diego. We have a conference schedule that's hopefully comfortable, that you feel like you can enjoy the conferences, sessions, and presentations and the keynotes, but you'll also be able to enjoy San Diego a little bit. We've allowed some time in the schedule for folks to share time. And, you know, that's one of my things that I think is very important, that if you're going to go all the way to San Diego, hey, let's just see a little bit of San Diego. So we've tried to factor that in as well. So in addition to it being the option for the virtual conference, if you actually attend the conference, you'll be able to enjoy San Diego as well as interacting with your colleagues and friends. And we know the NCDA is this big family, right? So when we go back, it's always, hi, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you since last year, or they missed you a couple of years ago. So we're hoping that all that happens too, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's all of us trying to do this work and trying to help our clients and our students and our constituents and help one another and learn from one another. So I think if those takeaways happen, I think we can say we did what we set out to do.
Absolutely. This is definitely a highlight of the year for all of us involved with the organization, the association. So we're super excited. And it sounds like you've got a great lineup of speakers, as well as just a good program and schedule in general planned for everybody.
I think too, if I could just mention some accomplishments we had this year. There are going
Absolutely.
to be a lot of things that you're going to learn, our attendees will learn, and those at the conference in terms of our particular accomplishments we've had this year. But a very super busy year. We have an AI publication on policies and a task force for that we've set up. This is just a short list. There's many more things that you'll learn at the conference. And we also have increased our global presence with releasing an Arabic version of the FCDA, the Facilitated Career Development Curricula. With that, I wanted to share the International Student Services Committee is going to have their annual conference on August 9th, and you'll get more information, and there'll be more information on the website about that, because that just lets you know that the focus on global expansion of the work that we do is so important. However, we also had our own AI summit this spring, and then we had another professional development opportunity on the intersection of wellness and career success in the fall that was connected with National Career Development Month. And you should also know, about 2 weeks ago, we went to DC, and we visited Capitol Hill, and we were there for 2 days and had great meetings to talk about advocacy for our work, and making sure that those that are in those positions that can make a difference in terms of legislation and so on and so forth know about what our concerns and what our goals are. And then I think among the other things I just want to mention is that we have a new strategic plan. And you'll learn more about that at the conference as well. And we will actually have information to share with you very specifically about the strategic plan when you get to the conference. Just wanted to highlight a few things, Melissa, but that's just a little short list. There's lots more.
I appreciate that. I know that that's just the tip of the iceberg of the highlights and achievements that you're going to be sharing at the conference. And it's been a very busy year for you and for the
Yes,
association, we can tell.
yes, very busy.
Carolyn, thank you so much for taking the time to participate in NCDA's podcast in this episode.
Thanks, Melissa. See you in San Diego.